There are many reasons to be intimidated by vintage clothes. Color combinations are harder to maintain, proportions feel wrong according to modern rules, mixing decades or style takes a lot of knowledge, sizing is unpredictable, it's not always practical, and yes, all of those things are true. Vintage demands intention in a way modern fashion rarely does. But when you're petite, that pressure doubles because all of the rules you've been taught so far are about minimizing, simplifying everything, and avoiding risk. So basically, when you're petite, the rule is don't wear vintage. For reference, I'm 5 feet, which is around 152 centimeters, so believe me, I know the struggle. Dressing up has always been a challenge, not only with vintage, but with clothes in general. And even though I've never been self-conscious about my size, I do think I pushed my vintage dreams for a long time because I had learned some fashion rules for petites, and basically vintage clothes were out of the question. So today I want to debunk those rules to prove that you can wear vintage even if you're petite. Rule number 1: create vertical lines. Don't cut the body. Yes, vertical lines can make you look taller and slimmer, but one simple straight line from head to toe can be boring. And you might be wondering, what exactly do you mean by vertical lines? In modern fashion, it typically means wearing all black or going monochromatic and avoiding cutting the body. In vintage fashion, it's a little different. Vertical lines can come from a long row of buttons, a pinstripe fabric, some contrasting vertical details, a deep V-neck, a longer block of color. When you think about vintage fashion, it's not exactly about lines that you create, but more about a silhouette that was popular during the decade. So vertical lines are not a given. And yes, you could benefit from them, and yes, some decades are going to look more flattering depending on your body type. Like for example, for me, the 1920s wouldn't have been flattering for my size and for my figure, so you won't likely see me wearing any garments from that decade. As stunning and detailed as they are not perfect for me. And if you're curious, these are the decades that work especially well on petites. But going back to the point, what should be your guideline instead? Cut the body strategically. Create as many vertical lines as possible. Instead of splitting yourself exactly in half, which can chop your height, try to let one section of your outfit be longer than the other. And keeping that advice in mind, you can pair that with other body type related advice. Like for example, if your legs are shorter, which is me by the way, don't let your clothing garments cut you on your hips, your knees, or your ankles. Always go above or below those. And if your torso is shorter, avoid cuts at the mid-hip. Your tops should always end on your natural waistline or slightly above it to define your shape. So always check how many vertical lines you can create with your outfit and see if they are supporting your figure. Rule number 2, create optical illusions. This is basically the objective, how to trick people into thinking you're taller, right? And that is great. It is actually more flattering to look taller, but that's not all you need to pay attention to. A perfectly fitting garment will always look better than a badly fitting one, even if you're actively trying to trick the eye. So check where the shoulder seam hits, where the waist sits, how the fabric drapes and moves, and if something's not right, take it to the tailors. I know it's one of those things that we all procrastinate, but having it tailored specifically to you will always elevate any outfit. A good structure will always elevate the outfit and make it look exactly right. A visual hack will only trick it. Rule number 3, wear monochromatic outfits. This is a great tip, it's very helpful. But if you go for any decade where there's a lot of color, which is basically any decade, then you wouldn't necessarily want to follow this rule. Bright colors in general are not advised if you're a petite. You shouldn't wear red, yellow, green, orange, and don't even get me started on wearing them together because it would be like shouting, "I'm short." And yes, color naturally draws attention, but not exactly because you look a certain way, but because nowadays everyone is wearing black, white, or beige, so of course you'll look different. What to do then? Again, the most important thing is to create as many vertical lines as possible. So if you choose two colors, especially if they are super contrasting with each other, try to keep one of the two in a longer line than the other. If you want to go for too many colors, you might want to keep them in the same tone so that you don't create many harsh lines in your body. Rule number 4, don't wear patterns. Avoiding patterns would make my life so miserable. I love patterns, it's my favorite thing about clothes, it's what I seek for when I'm thrifting, it's what I'm naturally attracted to. So is this true? Not exactly. Smaller or mid-scale patterns are perfect, just make sure they are evenly distributed. Now, bigger, more separated patterns will make you look smaller. Gunsack dresses are a sensation among vintage lovers because they sort of hit on all the spots that us vintage girlies love, like mixing patterns and fabrics, vertical lace details, pretty vibes with a sexy tighter top, which just goes to say it's not about avoiding patterns altogether, but about finding a garment that is perfect for you. Rule number 5, avoid oversized accessories. This is one rule I kind of agree with, but not as in don't ever wear an oversized accessory, but as in anything you wear, make it look intentional. Of all the possible accessories, the purse is the one I would keep small, because when you're petite, your bag should work as a complement and not have it compete with you. For all the other accessories, glasses, earrings, necklaces, belts, go ahead. It's not about how big they are, but about where you position them. And if you're wearing them intentionally, then they will work as an accent to your clothes, making everything look more elegant and put together, which is the most important thing. Rule number 6, wear heels. When wearing heels, you're actually adding inches, so of course this works. But you don't have to sacrifice your feet to grow a tiny bit every day. If you're wearing flats, focus on the structure of the shoe and not the height of the heel. A flat shoe with a defined toe, which can be pointy or squared, will usually work better than a chunky heel with a rounded shape. It's the same as with clothes. The more structured, the better. Heels do change your height, but good shoes change the silhouette. Rule number 7, high rise. This is the most important rule and thankfully is one that is ever present in vintage clothes. A high rise will always make you look taller. Does this mean you will have to wear tighter, uncomfortable pants? Not at all. Some denim jeans are definitely stiffer in comparison to fabrics nowadays, but they also tend to have a better structure, which means they are thicker, they last longer, and they look amazing. But high rise works because of where the waistline sits, not because the clothing piece is tight. And if you don't want to deal with stiff denim, there are plenty of other fabrics and styles you can try as well. Think pleated trousers, A-line skirts, structured cotton, wool blends, tailored trousers, they all give the same effect. Rule number 8, avoid volume. Of course, the more volume you add, the shorter you look. But do you have to avoid it altogether? No. Vintage silhouettes use volume all the time, but they always balance it with structure somewhere else. Volume is fine, just not everywhere. So if you go for a more voluminous skirt, make sure the top is as closely fitting as possible And if you go for a tighter skirt, go for a more voluminous top. Balance matters more than size, so if you really like something, don't be afraid of trying. Rule number 9. Styling equals more. Right now, there are tons of videos where they show you a comparison of the same outfit with and without styling. And of course, they look a lot cooler when you add a bunch of different elements. But with vintage looks, it was not really about adding a bunch of elements to make it better. On the contrary, vintage looks depended heavily on other ways of styling. So, thinking vintage, what does that mean? Basically, just fixing your hair and your makeup. Creating volume at the crown, going for an updo, defining your brows and your lips. They all sound kind of simple and boring in today's standards, but they do make a visible difference when it comes to your outfit. For petites especially, hair and makeup can help balance the outfit from head to toe. So next time something feels odd, maybe try an updo or letting your hair down or checking on your makeup. Something along those things will work. Rule number 10. Good posture. Surprisingly, people focus so much on the clothes sometimes that they forget to tell you the most important rule. Good posture makes more for you than any clothes will. If you're struggling to keep good posture, you need to work on it every day, and what helps is exercising and stretching. Being conscious of it helps, but it's not enough. These were the rules for perfect posture in the 1950s. The line begins with the tip of the ear. Bring the ears back over the shoulders. The shin should be parallel to the floor. Shoulders are down and relaxed. The rib cage is elevated at all times. The stomach is pulled in and taut. The pelvis is tucked in and tilted slightly forward. The knees are relaxed and slightly flexed. With the feet, the weight rests on the center of the foot. These are vital depending on the decade you like. For example, older garments, especially 1950s tailored pieces, were literally designed for the corsetry and shoulders back posture of the era. So when you slouch, the fabric bunches and makes you look smaller. Rule number 11. Looking short is not a failure. Wearing vintage as a petite is very challenging because you can either look like a life-size doll or like a cute grandma. Hitting that in between takes a lot of work, a lot of money invested in tailoring, and a lot of trying out new clothes to figure out what works and what things can do the trick. And while I do think as petites we do need to follow some fashion guidelines, I don't care for dressing black forever and filling my house with soulless clothes. I care for feeling happy, feeling myself, and knowing I have options. Not every outfit is meant to make you look taller. Some outfits are meant to show shape, structure, or movement instead. Vintage style was never about disguising the body. It was about dressing it with intention. So go ahead and find ways to dress exactly how you want. There are so many videos about this topic I would love to make, but I hope these tips are helpful. That was everything for today. Thank you so much for watching and for being here, and see you on the next one. Bye!
But they sure got some cuties incorrect.